I'm so excited to check in with you this year and hear how things are going at the festival, but also to share with our filmmaker community a little bit of the behind the scenes about how you do what you do at Roxfest. So thank you so much for speaking with me.
Oh, thank you, Greg, so much for having me to talk about Rox Film, for being a partner. We started 25 years ago because there were filmmakers of color that weren't getting into other festivals and weren't getting into a lot of festivals because they were creating content that wasn't in line with sort of what society was understanding of the Black and Brown community at that time. A lot of gang type films and thug type films, which is fine, but the BIPOC or the Black and Brown community doesn't live in a monolith. So these filmmakers were local. We wanted to support them. We wanted to give them the opportunity. And so we started, had no idea what was going to happen. And here we are 25 years later, an international festival screening over 65 films. And supporting, all of those filmmakers. So it's really exciting to see it grow. It's really exciting to see the filmmakers' growth over these last 25 years.
Has your mandate or the way that you program changed much over the years, or have there been any surprises or evolutions along the way?
It's not that our programming has changed. It's the films that have changed. I think with the advent of it being much less expensive to make films, and with people understanding that they wanted to have control over their own narrative, that people started making movies. And oftentimes mainstream media isn't going to tell those stories. And there's so many stories. And that's what I love about the independent film world, is that you learn so much about situations, about organizations, about people, because you've got all these filmmakers out there, collecting these stories and then putting them on film. And I think that's one of the things that really inspires audiences to go to these festivals, because you're not going to see these in mainstream media. You might not see them, streaming. A lot of it is, it's just things that I would never see in the megaplex, so to speak.
James Hemmings is such a perfect example of that, right? The James Hemmings Ghost in America's Kitchen is a film that you made us aware of and that Slated was able to secure distribution for. That is a story that not only do you not see it in film, Americans didn't know it.
Exactly. And that's the whole thing. And that's what Rox Film does. It sort of like brings these, it's like uplifting these voices, uplifting these stories. And we just are so blessed to have an audience that is so excited to learn new things and understand new things.
You've also programmed movies like Summer of Soul, which won an Oscar. As you look back on the last 25 years of festivals, are there any other films that really stick out in your mind as being ones you were proud to have discovered or programmed?
I mean, there's so many. I mean, I think that one of the ones that really sticks out is a film called Liana.
Once upon a time, there was a girl they called her Liana.
One of the most beautifully animated documentary films I think I've seen.
We're going to be writing the story of this young girl, and it is our story. We don't know where that story is going. You will decide.
It was a beautiful way to tell a story about, these children in an orphanage in Africa, and using storytelling to help them talk about their trauma. Another film to talk about a subject that's really important to talk about, but using film as a catalyst for that conversation is something that's really important to us at Rox Film. And I think we've had a number of those films, like American Ascent.
I grew up with people telling me what I couldn't do. You can't because of your color.
There's never been a group of Black climbers coming together in an expedition to get to the summit of Denali.
It's almost like the mountain dares you to make a mistake.
It's totally destroyed right now. It's going to be hard, and you know it. It's pretty clear that from here on, it's the real deal.
And all these films are really about ways to look at BIPOC communities that you wouldn't normally know or see, or sort of like change your view or image of that particular community to really wanting to give sort of like voice to the voiceless and raise awareness and uplift those voices, and at the same time have audiences walk away thinking, wow, I never knew that, or I'm going to do something about that because maybe the film had some sort of action behind it.
That's not easy to do. I know it's a labor of love.
It is a labor of love. Oh my God, it's such a labor of love.
What should filmmakers know who are considering submitting to Roxfest this year or just in general?
But we accept all types of films, experimental, animated, and we have a big student section for high school and after school, and also colleges and universities. So we're always really eager to support emerging filmmakers. It's a big part of our mission at Rox. But even if you're not younger and you're just a filmmaker at 40 who said, I want to make this film, or 50, that's still you should do that. I always say that there's a story everywhere. We're inundated with stories every day of our lives, right? You have stories when you're talking to your grandparents or your parents or whomever else, capture those, because you never know when that could be used for a film or some other way. But we need to be capturing these stories, because if not, they get lost.
So what can filmmakers expect who come to the festival?
We really try to make sure that everyone feels the same level of love, whether you're making a 1-minute short or a 68-minute feature or a 90-minute feature. It's hard. But the thing that's very different about Rox is that we don't overlap films. So you won't be in a film thinking, oh my gosh, am I going to make it to that next film? Because we listened to our audience members years ago who said, I don't want to overlap. I want to be able to see every single film in the festival. And we do have audience members that see every film in the festival, which is amazing. And one of the other things too is that we want all of our filmmakers here. We find housing, we work with a local college to open up their dorms so that it's not as expensive to come to Boston and stay for a couple of days, because it's part of the experience. And I think that, what I love is that filmmakers will come to Roxbury International Film Festival, and I will say to them, you will see each other on your journey. So make sure that you're networking, make sure that you're talking to each other. And there's no hierarchy, right? Where you can go to this party because you're an opening night film, and you can go to this party, or you can't go to this party. Everyone's invited to everything. It doesn't matter who you are. Everyone's invited, because the whole point is to create this network and this community where everybody learns from each other.
Yeah, that's one of the first things I noticed. You can tell from all the comments and photos and reviews that are left that people just have a blast, that people are having the best time ever. So, and what better place to do that than in Boston?
What better place in Boston in late June?
We've covered a lot of ground, but what do you love most about running Roxbury International Film Festival?
At the end of opening night, because we are very intentional about what that opening night movie is going to be, because it's going to set the stage for the entire festival, right? We really use that film to set the stage. And it's at the end of that opening night when people get up and clap and give a standing ovation to a film, and the filmmaker is just blown away by the audience and their reaction to it. That to me is, I think, one of my favorite parts of running the festival, and what probably keeps me coming back year after year. That, and they won't let me go.
Thank you again so much for speaking with me today.
Greg, thank you so much for having me, for talking about Rox Film Fest. It is a labor of love, as you said before. And I look forward to people submitting. If people have any questions, they can just go to the website and shoot me an email. But yeah, we're very excited for this year, and excited for what possibly might come to Slated.